Conversation continues now with Rob O'Neill. Rob's the former Navy SEAL who shot Osama bin Laden. Rob, good to have you on the show. And rather than start on that point, I actually want to go back to something our correspondent in Tel Aviv, Robert Sherman, made me think about when he was talking about commandos, Israeli commandos on the ground. And I'm just curious because we had some guests on before the U.S. chose to use the bunker busters and these nuclear sites. They said the other option was probably Israeli commandos. Now, I know it's not comparable for many reasons to the bin Laden raid. But that was the debate before you guys went in there too. Should we bomb it? In that case, we needed to see a body, right? So you guys went in. What about that? Could Israeli commandos have gone into these nuclear sites and had a similar effect, or do we need to drop the bunker busters? What's your perspective?
Thank you for having me, Connell. Yeah, they have the ability to do it, and we've trained with them before. I'm not going to get into the tactics, but we can get into those bunkers. I'm not. It would take a lot longer, obviously a lot more dangerous because you've got boots on the ground and whatever kind of resistance. But the Israelis, especially with Mossad, have proven that they've got people in there. They've killed the top guys, the top generals, the top scientists. So there are definitely dudes in there. And what we've seen is this paper tiger Iran that we've been building up since 1979 as some big, powerful country. I mean, they got wiped out in 12 days. Look at their supreme leader. Who's going to follow a guy that hides as soon as their country goes to war? So the way I see it, I mean, it would have been more difficult. It would have taken a few days, but they could have gone in there and done it, no problem.
Wouldn't they have had a better assessment of the damage they did? In other words, they went in there, and again, you said you wouldn't go into the details, but I'm kind of assuming maybe they lay down explosives or however the operation would work, and then they get out and they blow, they do their damage. Wouldn't it be easier to tell if the damage was done rather than rely on the intelligence that we're relying on now, or is that not true?
Oh, no doubt about it, yes. But you're going to have guys behind enemy lines for a number of days. If you got to get into the mountain, I mean, you got to get into the mountain. And again, I'm not going to get into it, but you can imagine with explosives what you have to do. Then you got to keep boots on the ground and all that stuff too. With these bunker busters, the way that they obliterated it, yeah, there was uranium, and they know where it is now. It's at the bottom of a huge pile of former mountain, a big pile of rubble. That's where it's at. And it just makes more sense to go in stealth, because not only are you hitting Iran in their three secret spots and proving that we can defeat them without firing a shot, China and Russia are watching. We've proven as the United States with our stealth technology, we can go anywhere in the world, from anywhere in the world, put one right in your front window, or in this case, put about 9 30,000-pound bombs in your front window, leave, and then we'll have the pilots of the stealth bombers can be home the next night and sing karaoke at the local bar.
That was a remarkable military operation, in and out before anybody knew they were coming. Now, these questions that have come up since, leaked intelligence report, you referred to the term obliterated, which is what the president has been using. Why do you have such a high degree of confidence that that actually is the case, given what some of the leaked intelligence appears to show? And also the question about the uranium. We had reports that maybe people aren't so sure where it is.
I mean, the uranium, they could have moved it. It's there's not as much red tape to move uranium from Iran to, say, China, and there were 747s flying in there. I don't know what they did with it, but I mean, generally, I just heard what DNI Tulsi Gabbard said. She's confident through Israeli sources that it's destroyed. And if there's anonymous sources leaking to the left-wing media, generally do a 180. Whatever they say, do the opposite. And that's what happened. If a leaked source, especially from a lot of the media outlets, is trying to say we didn't do it, then we definitely did it, because they'll do anything. We've got anti-nuke people saying they want Iran to keep nukes because they hate Donald Trump so much. And I mean, the biggest fight we're fighting is against the left in this country.
So what's the next step in all of this? So Trump's going to go and say he's going to have talks next week. What does success look like to you? What would be a successful endgame?
Well, what it looks like is they managed to put a chokehold on the ayatollah. He's in hiding, which tells me that they're talking backdoor with a lot of the headshed of the Iranian military, and they don't like being a part of the theocracy, so they're going to do some sort of a nonviolent coup. They're going to get rid of the ayatollah, and I think it's going to be peaceful. I'm just saying same thing that he's doing with India, Pakistan, with going to be doing with Russia and China. Make it about their economy, make it about tariffs, make it about sanctions, or we can just all get along. And Donald Trump is trying to make peace everywhere. I don't know why so many people are against that. I don't know why, if you destroy Iran, there wasn't a major war in the Middle East until the Islamic Revolution in 1979. Why wouldn't we all want peace right now? Well, it's because of party politics. So, yeah, it's going to be negotiations. It's going to be, you know, President Trump wants the Gaza Strip to be a nice vacation spot, and he wants Iran to you know, to be the center of trade. Look where it is. That's all he's trying to do. And it's, I mean, if we wanted to destroy pretty much every country, we could, but we're not doing that. That's not the United States way. It's certainly not Donald Trump's way. And, you know, after this, too, after what's going on right now, we don't need to compare him to Ronald Reagan anymore, because Donald Trump now is the baseline. That is what a great president does. And then this is turning the page.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our NewsNation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.